Okay, okay, okay. Welcome to the YouTube Sports Network. Let's build our enthusiasm together. Let's let's get this thing going. The production is still underway. Obviously, this is pretty cut and dry and raw, but sometimes it's really not about what it looks like. I'm not trying to disguise or put up a facade or draw you in by the visuals with the art or the introduction. I mean, eventually I would like to get there on the production side of things. For me right now is we're just trying to get information out, and and I would just like to share what I feel, share what I see. So we're gonna get to it. I want to talk about baseball, baseball's action yesterday. So I have a bunch of notes here, front and back, both pages, front and back. Um, let's see if I can shoot through this. I always say that. Let's see if I can shoot through this quick. But yeah, seriously, I want to get through this because these are things that I want to share. These are tidbits, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people out there, there are people out there like-minded or just simply interested in information. But got my stuff here. Mets 8, Cubs 5. This was yesterday's score between them. It's not so much about the scores, although um, the Mets are in a fight for the wild card. They're at the last wild card spot, and the Reds are right behind them. I believe they're one game ahead of the Reds. So Mets obviously got to win every game that they got going on. They're visiting Miami. I believe they're visiting Miami. They'll be in Miami starting tonight. But the main highlight or the main headline here is that Francisco Lindor hit his 30th home run of the season. And a couple videos ago, I was talking about Lindor and how he was just one home run away from joining Soto, Jose Ramirez, and Jazz Chisholm for the 30-30 club this season. 30 stolen bases and 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases. Lindor did not get it 2 nights ago, but he got it last night. So he joined his teammate. And in fact, by doing so, they are just the third pair of teammates in the history of baseball to each have 30-30 in the same season. And this is why it's so interesting about sports. But the first pair of teammates to do it was Howard Johnson and Darryl Strawberry with the 1987 Mets. The second pair of teammates to do it was Bo Bichette and Ellis Burks from the 1996 Rockies, and now Soto and Lindor, 2025 Mets. So 2 of the 3 times it has happened, 30-30 teammates. The Mets have been responsible for doing that, so good for them. And good for Lindor for getting it. Another note on this game, or not even in a game in particular, but actually about the Mets in general. They have a kid they have Nolan McLean. So Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, and Brandon Sprout. Tong is 22, McLean is 23, Sprout is 24. These guys are getting a lot of starts at the end of the season in crucial times because the Mets are down some arms. They just lost Tyler McGill, who I wish him well. A couple videos ago, I was saying, please, Tyler, get well. Frankie Montas for this guy's arm. Seems like every other year or every year the guy's got something going on with his arm. He has to get UCL surgery. He's going to be out this year and probably next year. So the Mets, who signed him, have not been able to rely on him. McGill's banged up. He's out too with an arm injury, which is odd with the pitching lab, and these 2 guys get hurt. The Mets pride themselves or every time you hear about the Mets, it's like they have a pitching lab. They've dedicated so much analytics and resources to the pitching lab. Guys should not be getting hurt. I don't know. You would think, right? So Montas is out, McGill's out, Kodai Senga's out. That's a couple years now, 2 out of 3 years with the Mets. He's been hurt. I'm pretty sure. So they're down arms, is what I'm saying. And Sean Manaea and Clay Holmes now are splitting duty for on the same day. Whenever they pitch the same day, and they're splitting duty. I'm assuming it's because they want to limit Clay Holmes's innings, I guess, and they want to ease Mania back into it, I guess. I mean, there's different strategies for different teams. Sometimes they all try to employ the same strategy, but that's their theory. But now they're going with three rookies essentially at the most crucial part of their season, right? So to me, and the Mets overall, besides Alonso and Lindor, and Nemo's quietly puts together good seasons. You look at it, he usually has around like 90 RBIs end of the year. So they have a decent or more than decent lineup. But then again, it's not the best from top to nine as far as production is concerned. I do like the players they have. I'm a fan of Tyrone Taylor, but a lot of these guys aren't putting it together, or at least as a collective group offensively. So if you look at some of the factors as to why the Mets are in the position that they are, and if they did make the playoffs, unless they see it as a second season and a new beginning, and they get into the playoffs, maybe they can band together. But it's hard to pick the Mets as a team that you really want to ride with or you really believe in, especially when you really need to win games. They don't really have that spunk right now going into a possible playoff position. So, I mean, you can see why. I mean, you're relying on three kids in a rotation to get this done. And I don't know what happened with the bullpen. You think, and honestly, this happens in sports. I can't give you an example off the top of my head, but I will tell you that it almost feels like when you start to add resources or you strengthen an area for your team and you think that you're going to be unstoppable in one area as far as the bullpen, and you add more reinforcements, somehow, some way, that area becomes weakened. It's a strange phenomenon in sports, but the Mets, since they've added all these like good arms, it just hasn't worked out. I mean, I say good arms. I think Gregory Soto was a good pitcher. Yeah, he's had his ups and downs. I mean, what's his name? Ryan Helsley. He was honestly top 5 closer in baseball. You have him as your setup man. It's just odd that they've made some additions and like it just didn't work out, and the whole unit in general just started to falter. I don't know what happened there. Maybe there's something going with the Mets that we don't know about as far as organizationally. Maybe there's something in the clubhouse. Maybe there's something wrong with the chemistry. I thought they had something going, but I'm just here to shout out Lindor and just put the emphasis on the young pitching staff. And if you're going to be relying on these guys who are very inexperienced to help win ball games, that spark has proven not enough so far. Although they haven't necessarily done bad. Sprout and McClain lately. Jonah Tong hasn't been too hot, but he has like a 7.71 ERA. But anyway, these guys are put in tough spots, and you're expecting them to help win your games. It's not easy. All right, Orioles. My point here is Dylan Beaver's walk-off home run. This is one of their top prospects, if I'm not mistaken, right? And like a lot of the Orioles players, they're all former top prospects and now have graduated onto the big league roster. And the Orioles are having a down season. And what can that be? What is the reason? I have to go back into my think tank because I've been in and out of sports, especially recently. Although I can dabble and I can get into it and I can come to a conclusion, I can do my research. It doesn't take too much research. All I know is that the Orioles I know they dealt with a delayed start to Henderson's season, I believe, where he got hurt. But he has come back for a while now, and he has played well, decently well. Not at the MVP status of last season. Adley Rutschman has had a complete lost season. I swear, I thought he was going to be in the case of MVP because of his responsibilities behind the dish, and also I thought he was going to at least be on offensive force and not I don't want to say liability, but I thought he was going to take a big step forward, or at least maintain, or at least somehow stand out. But offensively, he has not done that, and so they're basically like the Orioles' young guys. They've underperformed, and their pitching hasn't always been great. So there's just the formula there hasn't really worked. I expect the Orioles though to be very busy in the offseason, and I expect them to spend a lot of money in the offseason. And I kind of feel like they might move away from Ryan Mountcastle, maybe use him in a trade piece as trade bait to acquire maybe a pitcher or a prospect, whatever it may be. But I feel like they're going to go after Pete Alonso. Something tells me that the Orioles are going to go after Pete Alonso. I don't know why, but they usually get those big boppers. Every now and then, if you look to the Orioles for like the last 15 seasons, maybe more, maybe just about that time range, They go after a big bopper, and I can see Alonso getting a nice contract from them. Uh, so that's my. Oh, but about Dylan Beavers, the celebration was as he's rounding third and approaching home. His teammates gave him a Ravens helmet. He puts the Ravens helmet on in a football. He gets the handoff and he runs and he touches home plate. I know those old school guys who have passed on are rolling in their grave, and those who are still living are probably saying, what has gone on with baseball? I know they said let the kids play, and don't get me wrong, I'm a traditionalist in some way when it comes to baseball because, I don't know. I didn't hate it because this is the problem. We're being conditioned and we're softening our views on things. Again, it's a game. We're like, don't be so serious, Devin. Don't take it so. I get that, but a football, now you're putting props on the field. Come on, bro. That's whack. Because now these kids that are playing think they can do it. It's not cool. It's not cool, man. I feel like there should be standards and there should be like behaviors in some way that, act like you've been there. I don't know. We can elaborate more on that at another time, which I probably will. I'm going to get through this. All right, the Reds, they're one game back of the Mets for the final wild card spot. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. The reason why I'm speaking on them is, why am I speaking on them? Did they win last night? Yes, they won last night. Did they not? So we're speaking on them because I was looking at the box score, and they played the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the Milwaukee Brewers have clinched the division. I believe they have 95, 96 wins. They've clinched the division. I think they're 5-5 in their last 10 games, so they really have nothing to play for. Now, with the Reds coming to town, coming to Milwaukee, they can very well knock out the division foe, prevent their division foe from entering the playoff picture, right? So it's always that classic case. Do they go hard the last couple games? Do they obviously play to win, which is can you not play to win in baseball? Who knows? The way these guys are giving up home runs the last couple of games, the bad teams, in my me questioning what's going on with the pitching recently, okay? But I don't think that the Reds, are the Brewers going to really just let the Reds beat them? Probably not. But the reason what I want to say is that Zach Littell is pitching today for the Reds. He has a 4.62 ERA this season with Cincinnati. He was acquired at the deadline from Tampa Bay, and with Tampa Bay, he had a 3.58 ERA. So more than a run per game he has been giving up with his new team. But I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, is there a silver lining, or is there something there where we can look at this game and go, well, maybe Littell's going to pitch pretty good against Milwaukee. He does have a 1.71 ERA in his career versus the Brewers. That is in 11 games, but that is only in 2 starts. And let me see, because I have all these notes all mixed up all over the place. And 4.2 innings pitched. Oh, but that's in only 4.2 innings pitched in his career. So what I'm saying is it's a very small sample size. It's a very small sample size against the Brewers, but their ERA in early going, and especially in 11 games, is not bad. I mean, he wasn't always a starter. He was a reliever for a bit before transitioning into a starter. I feel like I can see him having a decent outing tonight. I mean, especially with maybe Milwaukee just kind of coasting and Reds playing a little bit more urgency. I've noticed that he has a 1.71 ERA against the Brewers. It's 11 games, like I just said. He has a 1.59 ERA versus the Guardians in also 11 games, and that's in 5 starts. So when I think of the Guardians and I think of the Brewers, I think of 2 greedy teams, 2 teams that are gritty offensively. And I think of Zach Littell, and he's a gritty pitcher. And I'm thinking maybe grit versus grit. Maybe Littell knows how to pitch against teams that are that know how to manufacture runs by way of small ball and hitting a home run every now and then. So maybe that's kind of what the Guardians do. That's kind of what the Brewers do. But the Brewers do score more runs than the Guardians. In fact, the Brewers, believe it or not, are 3rd overall in baseball in runs per game this season. They have 5.01 runs a game. I'm throwing a lot of stats out there, but what I'm saying is maybe Littell has a good game tonight. The Brewers The Milwaukee is 3-7 against the Brewers this season. 3 wins in 10 games against the Reds are 3-7 against the Milwaukee Brewers this season. So there's some stuff going on there, but I'm curious to see how Littell pitches tonight. Can he pitch the Reds to a win? We're going to move on. Byron Buxton. Byron Buxton hit 2 home runs yesterday. He has a career high 34 homers and a career high 82 RBIs. 2 home runs yesterday. His slugging percentage on the season is .551, and he's played in 124 games. That is the second most in baseball. So I'm looking at his contract. He signed through 2028. He signed a 7-year, $100 million contract for the 2022 season up until the 2028 season. Byron Buxton is 31 years old, I believe. I think something around that time, around that age. So I just want to give a shout out to Byron Buxton for staying healthy a good portion of the year. I think he went on a DL twice this season. In the past, he's missed a lot of games in his career, and he's a guy that huge potential, amazing talent, tremendous athlete, and his only problem is staying healthy. He could cut those strikeout numbers down because he strikes out a ton. He doesn't quite get on base a bunch. Doesn't take a lot of walks, but when healthy, he was always one of the better center fielders. He just kind of had to be. Is he still playing center field these days? I think he's more DH. I got to look at it again, but he's not going to be playing as much center field as you want or they envisioned. But in general, though, that's the Twins. The Twins are just a lost franchise. Let's just say what it is. The Twins are, in my eyes, are completely lost. They don't know what direction they want to go. Very, very odd. So for me, they got to figure it out because they have all these guys. They have like a lot of their minor league players have graduated up into the majors, but no one really is quite standing out. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is standing out a bit. He's pretty good. My boy Matt Wallner. I had to say it twice. I wasn't sure if it came out. Matt Wallner. I say it 3 times now because I think that guy has big power, and I feel like he'll wind up on a team. Maybe he'll reach his potential there. Thing is, another guy, low batting average. I'm not sure of his strikeout numbers. I got to look back on the strikeout numbers, but he's not always in a lineup. He's not always healthy. It's just weird what's going on with the Twins, and I think that's a team that they need to find some direction because they've gone south, and they weren't supposed to go south. Just a few years ago, it looked like maybe they're kind of figuring themselves out. Remember, this team for a while was always a playoff team, and now they're in limbo. They don't know what they're doing. I might cut this video short so I can break this up because one 40-minute video, no one's going to want to listen to it. So I'll get through the next couple. Also in that game, Jock Peterson. I wanted to highlight him because he went 0 for 4 yesterday. He has a 177 batting average. I think his on-base percentage is 217 or very low 2s. Horrible. And let's just say they never get fired and they live forever. That's all I got to say. We'll dive into that another time. That guy is well protected. And he's well paid too for a guy that has. All right, whatever. Nick Kurtz, he went 3 for 5. This is for the Oakland A's. We moved on. We'll move on to the Athletics now, who are now formerly the Oakland A's, soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics, not currently the Sacramento Athletics. They'd rather be known as just the Athletics. Okay, Nick Kurtz went 3 for 5, 2 runs, 3 RBIs, and 2 home runs. The theme lately has been 2 home runs, 2 home runs, 2 home runs. Byron Buxton, 2 home runs. There's a message. See? Nick Kurtz, 2 home runs. Just the other day, I was saying, Schwarber, 2 home runs. Judge, 2 home runs. Cal Riley, 2 home runs. The 2 home runs. So, guys, I don't know. Bet 2 home runs in people. Whatever you feel good about, especially the home run hitters, just bet them to hit 2. Kurtz has a 293 batting average, a 387 on-base percentage, and a 623 slugging percentage. That's up there with the best players in baseball right now. When I first saw Nick Kurtz, I thought to myself, this big bastard, first of all, it looks like a little baby face on this big-ass body. That don't matter. It's like they synced this guy's face. It's like AI. Nick Kurtz is like a human AI. It's weird. You see the face, you see the body, did that kid just have a growth spurt? But I don't know, it's weird. It doesn't look like I'm like, obviously, I'm just trying to go down that path. My brain is still foggy and all that, but I'm trying to get through this. What I'm saying is, this kid's having an unbelievable season. And what I'm saying is also when I first saw him and I'm seeing him wear number 16, I immediately thought, and you can believe me or not, was that's Jason Giambi. That is their next Jason Giambi. I mean, obviously it's easy to make the comparison. First baseman, big guy, lefty. Right off the bat, you're like, oh duh. Where's the number? He wears the number. Giambi wore 16. The guy hits home runs to left field, center field, right field. Has a good batting average. Look at Jason Giambi's numbers. He did the same thing. He did the exact same thing. Takes his walks, hits for average, hits for power. I'm just saying, what a random name, Jason Giambi, to think of. But this is their Jason Giambi. And that ballpark, that ball is flying. I swear, I saw this guy a couple weeks ago hit a home run. Or last week, right, was it? Or 2 weeks ago, hit a home run. The longest of the season. 493 feet to dead center field. What's going on over here? I'm in the middle of a video. 493 feet to dead center field off Scott Barlow. My thought was Scott Barlow came in the game. He did not look ready. He was throwing meatballs. And he thought, like I said the other day, like these pitchers somehow they're doing. I guess this is late season memo. He tried to throw a 92 mile per hour fastball past this guy. 92. Up. Right at like belt level. And he just took it. 493. Perfect swing to dead center. I was amazed. It was beautiful. Longest home run in baseball. Longest home run what? Since 2023. So, and he also has this kid. He has 35 on the season, but he has 21 home runs at home, 14 home runs on the road. So you can't quite say it's just the home ballpark. Although 21 at home obviously is a lot, but look at most of these guys' numbers. They're gonna have high numbers no matter where they go. So I think that's not the discrepancies or the differences aren't too far apart. So I just want to shout out Nick Kurtz. What a great season this kid is having. What is this now? 23 minutes long. Almost 23 minutes long. I'll get through this page and then I'll break it down and get to this page. Phillies, Walker Buehler. He's had pitched in 3 games with the Phillies since coming over from the Red Sox. He's pitched in 2 starts and he has a 3-0 record. He has a .66 ERA with the Red Sox, with the Phillies, .66, and he's also giving up 6.6 hits per 9. Compared with the Red Sox, he gave up 9.6 hits per 9, and he had a 5.45 ERA. Small sample size, but great numbers so far with the Phillies. Hasn't pitched a bunch of innings with the Phillies, but still, those numbers you can't deny. He's 3-0 in 3 games. The first game was against the Royals, pitched 5 innings. Second game was in relief. He pitched innings 5 through 8, came in relief against in Arizona, got that win, and then third game was against Miami. Yesterday's game was 1-0. 2 games ago was 11-1. Phillies cracked 8 homers. So the day later, this is funny too, right? The bettors is like they cracked 8. All these homers, I'm going heavy with the home runs next game, right? They're all going to be hot. Bro, sports, especially recently, it feels like the trends don't quite continue. I mean, maybe home run streaks will continue. Maybe you'll get the winning streaks here and there will continue. But how they're going to win is not always the same. So don't expect big, everybody flocks to the betting, hitting homers and all these runs, but then they throw you a curveball the next day. 1-0. All right. It's like they suck you in. So I'm just shouting out Walker Buehler. Those numbers are amazing. The whip, 1.17 whip with the Phillies, 1.558 with Boston. I mean, that has to do with hits and walks and innings pitched. So I had to throw a little thing in there as well. But the hits are down, 3 less hits per 9. Small sample size, but ERA 0.66. Again, small sample size, but he's 3-0 in 3 starts. Maybe he's found something there. Then the Phillies and Walker Buehler, they're probably a good match psychologically. All right, and Dodgers, they beat Arizona yesterday 8-0. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They won 2 in a row. Ohtani hit his 54th home run of the season yesterday. Andy Pages hit his 27th. 2 straight games at a homer. Does he go for his third straight game in a homer? I like streaks. And Freeman hits 2. He now has 23 homers, 88 RBI. By the way, 2 home runs again. 23 homers, 88 RBIs. He has a 293 batting average, a 364 on base, and a 496 slugging percentage. And that's 145 games. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching a whole. Obviously, for those who don't know, you're watching a Hall of Famer. You're going to look back at the stats. If you look at Baseball Reference, you're going to go, because I love doing that. I love going to the reference websites or wherever you want to go. You'll get your stats. And I love going back since I was a kid and just looking at the stats and being amazed by it and comparing them to other players. Freddie Freeman is, just appreciate that. If you're a fan, you believe all this stuff is real and you like stats, Freddie Freeman is that dude. And he is still producing. This is my saying. I've coined this saying. So if you hear it ever more after this, it's I don't know where it came. They coined it from me. Consistency is the epitome of a Hall of Famer. And the guys that can do it, obviously in their first 10, it's always those first 10 years, their resume, a lot of great players, Andrew Jones, Albert Pujols, just look at them all. But the guys who do it from 32, 33, 34, 35 still do it at a high level, guaranteed Hall of Famers. It's the longevity, production over a long period of time. Freddie Freeman is that dude. So I'm going to cut it right here. I'm going to come back for the second page. I'll call it part 2. So MLB Rundown from yesterday, part 1. Tomorrow, right after this will be part 2. Thank you and welcome to those YouTube Sports Network. Stay tuned.